Planning a Walt Disney World trip can be incredibly intimidating. From where to stay, how to skip the lines, and snagging those premier dining reservations, there can be so much legwork that goes into planning the perfect Disney vacation. Today, we're going to help make planning your vacation a little bit easier as we break down Disney's Skip the Line service, Lightning Lane. Hey, it's Jessica with Happily Everywhere Travel Blog. If you're planning your very first Disney World trip, or maybe you've heard the term Lightning Lane but don't totally get what that means, don't worry. Today I'm breaking it all down so by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what Lightning Lane is, how it works, how much to budget for, and how to use it to maximize your time in the parks. Let's start with a little history. Disney used to offer a free service called FastPass, which let you reserve a return time and skip the regular line. That later evolved into FastPass Plus, giving guests more flexibility with advanced bookings. Eventually, FastPass was retired and replaced by a paid system called Genie Plus, which bundled Lightning Lane access into one purchase. But in 2024, Disney overhauled the system once again, rebranding and restructuring it into what we know now as Lightning Lane MultiPass, Single Pass, and Premier Pass. Before we really dive in, let's talk about something you have to have ready, the My Disney Experience app. All Lightning Lane purchases happen through it, so getting comfortable with the app is step one. And if you're not familiar yet, we've got a video that breaks down all of its best features, and trust me, it's essential for planning a smooth Disney vacation. This app does it all. You can book dining reservations, manage tickets and passes, and save your Disney PhotoPass pictures, and much more. Everyone in your party will need an account if you plan to use Lightning Lane, or you can create accounts for them yourself. But the app is the only way to purchase Lightning Lanes and assign them to the people in your group. Before we go any further, I highly recommend downloading the My Disney Experience app and creating your account now, so you're ready to follow along with the rest of this guide. Now that you're logged in and ready to roll, finding your Lightning Lane options is super easy. Just open the My Disney Experience app, tap on Lightning Lane passes, and you'll see the 3 types of passes laid out and ready for you to choose from. Now let's break down the 3 categories of Lightning Lane to see what will best suit your vacation plans and budget. Lightning Lane MultiPass is what most people will use if they want to skip the lines. It works with a 2-tier system in each park except Animal Kingdom, which for now has all of its attractions in one tier. That means the most popular rides are in the first tier and the rest are in the second tier, and you'll choose a selected number of attractions from either tier. All Lightning Lane pass types can be purchased in the My Disney Experience app at least 3 days prior to your trip. We'll get into this a little later, but with Lightning Lane MultiPass, you can choose to pre-select 3 attractions per day, depending on availability. You'll be able to view all available attractions and time slots before you ever agree to purchase, which is great for budgeting and planning purposes. Once you're ready, you'll be able to pre-select either 1 ride from Tier 1 and 2 from Tier 2, or you can book all 3 from Tier 2. In Animal Kingdom, you will just select all 3 attractions from the single tier list. So let's look at Magic Kingdom for example. Say I want to book Peter Pan's Flight for my Tier 1 selection because I know it books out quickly. For my Tier 2 attractions, I get to select 2. So let's say I choose Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean. I'll select my 3 rides and then it will allow me to book the time slots that best suit my day's itinerary. After I've selected everything and it looks good, it's time to hit purchase. Keep in mind, prices for MultiPass varies from park to park and day by day depending on peak seasons. And while you're booking, just know that there is a timer running while you select your Lightning Lanes. Take too long to choose and your selections will disappear, so a little prior planning is essential. Once you've arrived to the parks and you scan into one of the 3 Lightning Lanes you pre-selected, you can then book something new depending on what time slots are available and what works best with the rest of your park day plans. So let's play this out and continue with our example of Peter Pan's Flight, Haunted Mansion, and Pirates of the Caribbean. Let's say I selected Pirates of the Caribbean for 8:10 a.m., Haunted Mansion for 10:15, and Peter Pan's Flight for 11:05. Once I enter the park starting at 8:10, I scan into my Pirates Lightning Lane, and now I'm able to select a new ride. As you use your Lightning Lane selections, you can make new ones throughout the day. Just remember, no repeats unless you want to wait in the standby line. Questions, anyone? Yeah, I thought so. Let's break down some of the most frequently asked questions about Lightning Lane Multipass. Referring back to our earlier example, Pirates of the Caribbean was a Tier 2 attraction. Does that mean I can only book another Tier 2 attraction? Nope. After you use your first Lightning Lane, you're free to book any attraction you'd like in either Tier 1 or Tier 2, except repeating an attraction you've already used a Lightning Lane for. What if I don't see a time slot I want? Go ahead and book something else, but keep checking back as your trip approaches, because you can change your selections if someone else lets their time slot go. Feel free to modify your selections anytime if your plans change or better selections open up. Now wait a minute. You've really been looking forward to riding the new Tron Light Cycle Run ride in Magic Kingdom, but it wasn't listed on either Tier 1 or Tier 2 for a Lightning Lane. Enter Lightning Lane Single Pass. This is for the absolute most in-demand attractions, the ones that almost always have long waits. If you want to skip hours of waiting for these heavy hitters, you'll need to purchase Lightning Lanes for these rides individually, and the price can vary day by day and ride by ride. Examples include attractions like Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, Avatar's Flight of Passage, or Tron Light Cycle Run. These will sell out quickly and can really add up, costing anywhere from $15 to $25 per ride per person, so definitely plan for them in your budget if you decide to purchase them. Lightning Lane Single Pass attractions can be pre-selected and stacked with your Lightning Lane Multi-Pass purchases, or completely on their own. Now, if you're thinking, wow, that's a lot of planning through the day to keep booking new Lightning Lanes and planning out what I want to ride and when, then there's a more flexible, yet costly option. That's where the third option comes in, Lightning Lane Premier Pass. This one is the VIP of Lightning Lane. Instead of booking times, it's a skip-the-line service that covers every included ride once per day at one park per day. You don't have to juggle time slots, you just show up and go through the Lightning Lane entrance. But this option will cost you big bucks. Depending on the day and the park, prices range from $130 on the cheapest day in Animal Kingdom to $450 on the most popular days in Magic Kingdom, and that's per person. If flexibility is what you're looking for and cost isn't a concern, Premier Pass can definitely save you time and stress. Now, as I mentioned before, you can pre-select all of your Lightning Lanes, whether you choose Multi-Pass, Single Pass, Premier Pass, or a combination of all three in the My Disney Experience app at least 3 days prior to the start of your Disney vacation. But what if I told you there was a way to beat the crowds and book your Lightning Lanes up to 7 days in advance? Yep, there's a huge advantage if you're staying at a Disney Resort hotel, whether it's deluxe, moderate, or value. Resort guests can make their Lightning Lane selections 7 days in advance for their entire trip. That's a big deal because it means you get the first pick before off-site guests who only get to book 3 days out. So if you're planning a big trip, this early booking window is one of the best reasons to stay on Disney property. Now, a lot of guests ask how park hopping works when you're purchasing Lightning Lanes. And you can absolutely still park hop as long as you have an annual pass or a park hopper option attached to your ticket. All you'll do is make your first 3 Lightning Lane selections for your first park of the day. After you scan into your first scheduled Lightning Lane, you'll then open up access to book your next Lightning Lane in any of the 4 Disney parks. At this point, you can also change your other 2 selections for rides in other parks if you'd like as well. Some strategy might have to come into play in doing this because Lightning Lanes do book up fast. So on the day of, you might have a harder time booking new Lightning Lanes in a different park unless you select them earlier in the day. So let's talk strategy and pro tips for first-timers. If this is your first visit, my biggest tip is don't overcomplicate it. Start by deciding which rides are most important to your group, then working your Lightning Lane strategy around those. I also recommend looking at a map of the park before making your selections, so you aren't adding an extra 10,000 steps to an already busy day. Making Lightning Lane selections that make sense as far as where you'll already be in the parks is the best way to fit a lot in without wearing yourself down or running late for your next Lightning Lane time slot. As far as your time slot is concerned, each Lightning Lane selection gives you an hour-long window to scan into your attraction, so don't stress if you book 2 Lightning Lanes that have time windows that overlap. As long as they're in close proximity to each other, you'll be able to finish one ride and head over to the next, even if it's after your window for the second ride has already opened. Cast members will let you scan into your Lightning Lanes up to 5 minutes early. If you happen to be running late, oftentimes as long as it isn't an unreasonably long time after the window has ended, cast members will let you use your Lightning Lane. Just explain your situation as to why you're running late and don't be a repeat offender. For families with young kids, focus on the attractions that are must-dos for them, and then sprinkle in the big thrill rides if you're using RiderSwap. RiderSwap is a service Disney provides to allow families with small children to ride attractions with larger height requirements or might be too scary for little ones, so parents can take turns riding without having to wait in the standby line each time. We have a great video on RiderSwap so you can see if this is something that might work for your family. For thrill seekers, prioritize single pass rides and fill the rest in with multi-pass choices. You can always book lightning lanes and ride rides again by waiting in the standby lines. One insider strategy tip I highly recommend is booking your Tier 2 attractions earlier in the day to give you the opportunity to book more Tier 1 attractions. Try to aim for as soon as the park opens. If you really want to maximize your day, rope drop 1 or 2 rides even before your first early morning lightning lane to get off to a great start to the day. And don't forget food and shows. Sometimes giving yourself a break from the rides can make the day feel much less hectic and bring more Disney magic. So that's your crash course in Disney World's Lightning Lane system. From history of FastPass to today's multi-pass, single pass, and Premier Pass, you now know how to book like a pro. Whether you're staying on property, getting in that early booking advantage, or just planning a single park day, Lightning Lane can be a total game changer for maximizing your time. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe. We've got tons of honest reviews, travel tips, and Disney strategies coming your way. And if you have questions, we'd love to answer them in the comments. Again, it's Jessica with Happily Everywhere Travel Blog, and we'll see you in the parks.